Clerk,
Ready? Okay.
We'll call to order the ZBA meeting for September 13th, 2023. And can we get roll call, please?
Durstock,
Here.
Hoagland,
Here.
Wagaman,
Here.
Mead.
Here.
I have absent Swanson, Smith, and Beluch.
Yes.
Thank you.
And approval of the July 12th, 2023 ZBA minutes. We need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve. I'll second.
And roll call, please.
Mead. You mean Mead?
Me, yes, here.
Wagaman,
Yes.
Hoagland,
Yes.
Durstock.
Yes.
Thank you.
For on the agenda, design review for construction of a community scale solar energy facility on Edith Lane. Applicant has requested a layover, and Scott has a little bit to say about it.
Yep, so if you recall, this is a project for which we did we did a map amendment, we adopted ordinance to govern the construction. We've been working with them, golly, since probably November or December. We had been targeting this ZBA meeting for design review, and they had sent me a nice large comprehensive package of everything. But I didn't look at the email close enough, and they were sending me a copy of their state filing for their state license to operate the facility. And they are still working out, and they go through a variance process with Four River Sanitation. There's a sanitary sewer easement that bisects the property upon which they're developing. They need to get a access easement across that utility easement, and it requires a variance. So they've asked, they said they would prefer to have that done before they go through design review for us, just in case that process dictates any change in design. So they expect to have it ready for October, and since I put it on the agenda, it would require a vote to lay it over if someone's willing to do that.
All right, we need a motion to lay over. Second.
Second that.
And roll call, please.
Wagaman,
Yes.
Mead,
Yes.
Hoagland,
Yes.
Durstock.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Sorry for the false start on them.
5 on the agenda, ZBA 23-018, public hearing for map amendments from R1 Single Family Residential District to Commercial General District for property commonly known as 10915 Main Street. And Matthew, I know you're here.
Yes.
Would you like to come up and speak about your the standard?
Looks back there somewhere for those. You're fine.
Oh,
Yeah, anywhere.
I'll share the screen.
Matthew, do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
So my name is Matthew Nichols. I was in the medical device industry for quite a while and got the opportunity to join American Family Insurance as an agent owner. I got appointed last week, got all my licenses from the state, and I actually started today when I received my laptop finally. So
Congratulations.
thank you very much. My vision is to put my agency where the house is now that I have an offer on. I think it would be a great addition to Main Street. It's going to be, I'm remodeling basically the whole thing, putting in a parking lot after I talk to you and get the do's and don'ts on all that and the signage, of course. But my vision is just to make it a pillar of the community. I want to be very involved in everything that's going on. I'm friends with Mike Huffman, the captain of the fire department, and a bunch of police. I want to collaborate with them with different events. I want to join as many networking events and community events as I can, just again, to be a pillar of the community. Bring in good traffic, bring in good people, and yeah, that's it. So that's my vision for that property, is to make it into my agency. I plan on doing new siding. There's a new roof already, all new windows, the parking lot like we talked about, and yeah, that's my vision. So I got recommended by American Family agent currently for the position, and here I am. So thank you for taking the time.
I will point out to the board that tonight's action is the map amendment. It's the change in zoning. So we'll go through parking lot design.
Yeah,
Things like that.
absolutely. That's what I figured.
Lighting, park, whatever.
Yep.
But the critical first step for you.
Correct.
Is zoning the property, and that's the agenda item tonight, is the map amendment.
Yeah, if I went too far into it, sorry.
No, you're absolutely fine.
No, you're good.
with it. In case they were looking for more drawings or something.
Sure.
You know what there's going on.
Absolutely.
Questions or concerns from the board?
I just see that you got, and this, maybe we putting the cart before the horse, but. You got future plans too with the extent, the property next to it or something?
Yeah, it's actually a 1 acre lot. So if you look at the map itself, it's 3 lots built into one. So, oh yeah, exactly. So what I plan to do too, within the next 3 to 5 years is if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Within this area here, just putting in like a smaller 3 storefront. Commercial building for like a coffee shop, donut, ice cream place, maybe another financial advisor that I can work directly with. And maybe a travel agency or something like that, a hospitality sort of business that can really help develop this town too. I mean, I've been up here about 4 years, lived in Belvedere and Rockford, and I love it here. Small town feel, really good people. I love the small town, everybody knows everybody kind of thing. So to really drive good, clean business in the area is a really big goal of mine.
Matthew, one thing I think we should do when we, should this be approved? As we move through the process of, figuring out a parking lot design, and everything, we should take a look at something that lends itself to expansion,
Yeah,
right? That lends itself to a phase 2 of the development of this property, so that you're not putting up any roadblocks to yourself for your future options.
absolutely.
Questions, anyone?
We do have a member of the public, so you call them.
Yeah.
Give it a look.
Remodel the existing house.
Yes. Okay. Yes, sir.
One thing we have learned, this isn't our authority, but one thing we've learned through some of these adaptive reuses of residential properties to commercial is that the Winnebago County Building Department does require a step towards ADA accessibility compliance.
Yep, I already have that drawn up in my plans as well. Okay.
Yep.
Ingress, egress to the home, parking lots, so on and so forth. That I plan, yeah.
All right, Matthew, I think that's good.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Any interested parties?
Yeah.
Pam, you wanted to speak, Gail?
Gail, you can speak from there if you want, that's fine.
I live in front of that one.
Excuse me, we need to swear you in real quick. So you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Go ahead, Gail.
okay, I live in front of the property. My concern is the bike path with everybody traveling it. Now, I enjoy sitting on my deck and watching the people go by. They have kids on bikes. I'm more worried about, I don't mind a small business, but now you're saying you want to put the back half like a coffee shop.
Right
The
next
door path is more.
Yes, there you go, north of the existing home.
Right, okay. What about, I'm worried about traffic.
Sure.
I'm worried about, because you got the school across the street, kitty corner. I got kids coming across, running across the street. I'm concerned about traffic. And if it's gonna be noisy. I don't wanna, have to live next door if they're gonna be partying. People get rowdy. I live by different businesses in Rockford. I moved here to get away from that,
Of course.
I don't mind a small business. But I'm concerned with everything else, the traffic. The safety of the kids riding up and down that bike path, people walking, and then I see elderly people. I said, people my age, we're walking up and down that bike path. Some of those cars don't even stop at the street. I can imagine if you have a big parking lot, they're gonna be zooming out of there.
Sure. May I, is that appropriate, or I've never done one of these?
Go ahead.
Okay,
Yes,
what I envision with the commercial retail property that I was talking about, that 3 storefront. Let's say like a coffee shop, donut shop, ice cream, and an investment like Edward Jones or hospitality. This is something that's gonna be open, one of them would be open, say 7 in the morning, people get their coffee before they go to work. And when I say 3 front, I mean, maybe this, I mean, not that big. Nothing where it would generate 50 cars an hour or anything like
Yes, but
that.
I'm,
Absolutely, that's a valid
I
concern,
don't-
definitely.
you know,
Hey, Gail, I just tried to, if you can see that monitor there, I just tried to sketch very crudely what, it's only a 1 acre lot. So you couldn't do that to give it development, but perhaps you could do a little parking lot that bumped off of that drive and I've probably even drawn something bigger that could fit, but what we call inline retail, so like a little mini strip mall that might have 3 tenant spaces or something. Those are traditionally 60 feet deep by whatever dimension of trust, but the lot wouldn't be able to hold too big of a development.
No, and be businesses that you mentioned partying and being up late and noisy.
yeah,
It'd be businesses where they'd be closed by 5, 6 o'clock at the latest on a weeknight anyway.
okay,
You'd have the hospitality group that's Monday through Friday till 5. An investment advisor or a banker or whatever kind of person, professional industry would want to go in there. They'd be done by 4 or 5 as well. I'm not looking to add a bar. I'm not looking to add gaming. I'm not looking at.
that's what I'm thinking, is if it's already, if it's owned business, and let's say you don't wanna stay in that house,
Oh, sure.
then any business
Space
can
work.
come in and take that over.
I mean,
If I
I
say,
kind of know where it is, but just on that.
Yeah, but I
On
can't,
the
you
picture,
can't give me a
it's-
guarantee that you're gonna always have that.
no, I can't. That would be unrealistic for me to do
Right.
that.
So, and that's my concern is,
Right now.
right now, it looks good, whatever, but down the line, what type of businesses are you guys gonna allow us to go into?
Sure. I
No.
understand.
The goal is to see Main Street developed as a retail, commercial retail, professional office, and hospitality. Meaning restaurants or coffee shops or ice cream parlors, things like that. That falls under a category of hospitality. But the goal is, particularly from Bridge Street up to at least Williams, perhaps all the way to Elevator, to have this be a connected, continuous retail and business district. Given the nature of the sizes of the properties and the existing buildings that are here, we anticipate that to be a series of small boutique style stores and businesses. There's not a single lot big enough to afford anything much larger than that. But it is the vision for Main Street, and the village will be investing in the years to come in reconstruction of Main Street, hopefully burying utilities, improving that pedestrian path, building a second bridge for pedestrians across the creek, excuse me, right here. But it is fair to say that the goal down the road is that Roscoe has a downtown business strip along Main Street. That is the goal.
Like I said, I mean, I just hope you keep the concerns that
Oh, absolutely.
people walking, the kids biking, that's my main thing, But I sit out there until 7 o'clock at night, just watching people go by, so it's
Well, thank you, Gail.
Yeah, what's your last name, please?
Watkins.
Watkins, thank you.
So the path goes on the west side of that road, right?
No, no,
there,
no.
Correct?
No,
It's on the east side.
It's on
I'm
the
trying to
east.
draw it for you, Chairman. I've been struggling with this right here.
It switches over after what.
as you go up to almost up to the school, it cuts over.
And when school's in and out, I'm assuming there's crossing guards there. Does
No.
anybody know?
Yeah,
Yeah, there is.
and they do have a squad car that sits up closer.
Better yet.
Seen it crossing guards there?
So if I,
I don't think there's crossing guards there.
No, I don't.
I've never seen a
Not
crossing
up
guard
at the
there.
school, but there was one down by the church.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
one.
is there one by the church?
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
she's there every day. Cause I'm usually out there and I'm watching because people don't stop for the buses.
Right,
So why are they gonna stop for a kid crossing the street?
right, yeah.
so. Just for reference, the rectangle I just drew on that screen is the property we're talking about, and the yellow line is the alignment of the
right.
path.
And then right at the end of that arrow, it turns east, right?
It,
I mean,
it does, yeah. It continues south, but also has an eastbound spur as well.
yeah.
Yep.
Did anybody else care to speak on this issue? Nobody? All right, we'll close the public hearing. Board discussion. I know that an insurance agency in itself is not going to generate a lot of in and out traffic. Even they used to be internet in the mail. I don't think
No,
there's a lot of people that come in. Would you
I would,
agree with that, Matt? It's
if I
not,
were to guess, maybe 6, 7 people in my office a week. With, like you said, social media, the internet, mailings that I'll be doing, phone campaigns that I'll be doing. You can do everything without even meeting somebody now if you really wanted to. But I plan on doing, and again, this is all subject to getting together restrictions and stuff, but I was thinking 3 to 4 parking spots at the most in the front in case I do have a visitor or 2.
that sounds about right. It'll be parking requirements based on the square footage, and of
That's
course,
what I
not
was
be
gonna say,
one
yeah.
ADA, but given the size of that house, I think it's probably
not much.
3, with 1 being ADA, so.
Yeah. And of course, we'll discuss that later if it gets approved, but that was my vision, so that's what I saw.
Anyone, anything else? George?
I think that's the direction the village wants to go as far as Main Street. That's been our long-term goal to develop.
That's accurate.
Okay, we need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
A second,
I'll second.
roll call, please.
Sirstat,
Yes.
Hoagland,
Yes.
Mead,
Yes.
Wagman.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you very much.
Working with Scott.
Yeah, we talked, the map amendment does move on to committee of the whole and the village board.
Okay.
Final approval. Design review stops and ends here with this body, but the map amendment does move on. And that'll be on committee of the whole next Tuesday, the 19th.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you, everyone. Look forward to working with it.
Yeah, thank you, Eben. Good work.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. And hey, call me.
You answered my questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll be good neighbors, I promise. Thank you.
6 on the agenda, ZBA 23-019, public hearing for requested variance to increase the maximum allowed height of a privacy fence in a front yard setback from 4 feet to 6 feet at 5267 Frankie's Lane. Is the applicant here this evening?
Yes,
Would you like to step up and tell us about the project?
Sure. All right, hi.
And by the way, you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I did.
So could you state your name? for-
I'm Amanda McKinney, McKinney. Thank you. Okay, so I'm on the corner of Frankie's Lane and River Street, or I guess Rowena. It turns there.
Yeah.
So right next to Riverview Park, Rowena. Okay, good. So right where it turns, I'm the first house on the left, the very first house in the neighborhood, basically. And so my lot is unique in that the way that it is shaped here, what is actually my backyard of my existing house is considered frontage because it faces River Street, and then on this side it faces Rowena. And what is actually my front yard is what y'all would consider also front yard and faces Frankie's. Now, I don't want to put a 6-foot fence all the way forward on the part that faces Frankie's. I really only want to go off the side of the garage over to the tree line, and then also off the side of the house over here over to the side of my property line, however far I'm allowed to go out there. But what is backyard is just a little tiny, like 11-foot stretch that's the side of the house, and that's not gonna work for me because there's only a window over there. So I wanted to put 6-foot privacy fence up along the border between myself and my neighbor, and then along the frontage here, because when the trees are not in bloom, then you can see right into my sunroom, right into my kitchen. I have children, I want privacy for them. And then right here along 251, I get a lot of garbage. You know, I get it when there's trees there and I usually go out and I pick it up, but when the trees are not in bloom, I get all that in my yard. So I really would love to put a 6-foot fence up all the way around so that my kids could get privacy, my dog could run, I could stop the trash from coming in, you know, and all that. I didn't realize when we purchased this house that it was considered frontage, street frontage. I didn't know it was front yard. You know, so when I came to Scott to get a permit to put up a fence, we realized that we had the issue where only 4 foot's gonna be allowed, and that's just not really, in my opinion, gonna be enough to grant me the privacy I'd like in between my neighbor and myself and the bank and myself, because you can see the bank if right here is the bank, and if they're sitting in the drive-through right here at the bank and I'm washing dishes at my kitchen sink right there off of my deck, we could make eye contact and we could have a conversation, you know, like with lip reading, you know. So I really just want to put something there so that I don't have to deal with that anymore.
I was at Amanda's actually selling her plight or her hardship on this a little bit short, because she is a very unique case where she is surrounded by 3 front yard setbacks.
Yeah, I have.
Not just front and back, the side to all 3, Frankie's,
Yeah.
River and Rowena. And for some reason, because it's an old plat, the recorded setback, front yard setback along River is 50 feet. Not even a standard 30 or 33 that it might be.
Yeah,
So what I've drawn there in yellow is, and it might be even more severe than that, is really what would be left if you deducted all the front yard setbacks. It's a strange little arrangement.
yeah, the kids swing set's not in there. Part of that would wind up in my leach field for the well. The access to the septic would actually be right underneath this section here. My shed would be excluded. So ideally, I just would like to get as much backyard as possible with as high a privacy fence as I'm allowed.
The variance is it really applies to the River Street setback only. She is complying to the north along Frankie, she's complying to the east along Rowena. It's just that you could see where it would have to be aligned to the south along River. So that is the request for a variance to allow a 6-foot fence in that River Street. So
Yeah, because really it's all just trees anyway, you know, so nobody's losing anything. Visibility wise for the corner or anything like that. It's not gonna impact their ability to see around the corner. They can't see anyway when the trees are in bloom or not in bloom. The presence of the trees alone is enough to block a clear view of the turn there anyway.
I put a photo on the second page of your staff report that's like a street view look at the property, which I'll scroll up to. And this is from the south. This is looking into, that's actually that's up on the screen right now. And that's a shot into the property as River Lane bends around north.
Yeah, so this is 251 right out here, and so like that's the side of the house off of Rowena, and then this is the backside off of River, and then that's the bank right there. So, and like you can see, right now it's great, right? Because you can hardly see my house, but in the winter, when there's nothing there, you can, like I said, literally see everything, you know, and I just don't really like that. Scott, this is that tree I was talking to you about. See the one with the L? See that L right there? That's the one that every time the trash truck or the school bus comes by, this piece is brushing the top of it and it's breaking further and further and further. And I think that that's the one that's gonna come crashing down any day now.
That is something that public works and stuff have to do.
Hi, Laura.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just right.
Okay. So to be clear, when you put Scott, when you put the yellow line up, is that what the setback currently is supposed to be
So
by zoning?
that would have defined the front yard setbacks. zoning doesn't, the plat overrides zoning, so while our zoning ordinance might say that the front yard setback is 30 feet.
Mhm.
This is an old, and any plat recorded now would comply with that, it would show setbacks. We technically say half of the right of way width, which is maybe how this one got so big. But it's a very old plat, probably platted a long time ago. I don't remember, 80 years, 90 years ago. So it did result in a larger, but even the standard 30 feet. This request, I think, would still be in play. It's an ask to regain.
And the black line represents 30 feet.
The black line is the fence. Oh, let me go back to the image. The black line is completely the fence. That's the proposed fence alignment. So. She has a accessory structure in the back corner, the southwest corner. That is. Drawing tool to work again. So the. There. I got
You
that.
can't even see your yard.
Okay.
House. Is that
So-
what I'm on?
This is the
Yeah,
spec, so
it's
the
somewhere
black
under
line you see there is the requested fence line. So the front of the property has a 30-foot building setback line. Like that. Rowena to the east has a 30-foot building setback line. Or front yard, I use that term interchangeably, building setback line or front yard setback. So and again, fences are allowed in the front yard setback, but only to a maximum height of 4 feet. So the recorded front yard setback along on the diagonal south property line along River Street. It's way up here like that.
Would put it there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, we look at, conditions in the findings of fact or in your report. We look at two key things when there's a variance request is does compliance with ordinance constitute a hardship? And it is staff's opinion that complying with those, having 3 front yard setbacks is incredibly unusual, and having a desire for a privacy fence and having to comply with that results in such a small rear yard area. That would be a hardship. And then also is the property for which the variance is being requested unique, generally unique from other properties in that same zoning. And again, for the same reason stated, it is.
Yeah. Very unique, yeah.
I'm sure this was already asked, but those are thick trees all the way around.
Well, they're not really all that thick. There's 2 pines in the front, you can see. They're kind of bushy looking things right up there above the 95. There's 2 fairly large pines right there, but then in between there and a little bit further down, I've lost 2 in the last season's storms. 2 huge trees have come out. So these guys are there and those are fine. And this guy is hanging in, but we're losing pieces as we go. This one is probably gonna come down this year on its own, next heavy storm, and that tree is probably down because it's already lost 4 or 5 pieces and it's leaning as it goes. So I think that whole tree is coming down. And these ones are so tall, they don't bush up, you know what I'm saying? All the branches are so high up there, you don't really get it. So while you do get a decent amount of cover from like these weeds that are growing up in here, like it's that widow's lace or whatever they call that junk. That's growing up in here real good, and so like you get a decent amount of cover, but the second that starts dying, you're done. So from like the first week of October all the way through until like April, it's bare. And this is the snowmobile trail. So even in the winter, you would say, oh, well, who's gonna be looking in your backyard? Well, all of 251, which is my fault for buying the house there, but also this entire snowmobile with a trailer of people. 3 o'clock in the morning last season, I had guys standing over here by this electrical box taking a pee. You know, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm standing in my kitchen getting something to drink. I'm watching a dude take a pee in my yard, you know? Just,
You dropped your receipt.
I dropped my receipt. And I
This
got,
view, the view that you see up there is from the southeast corner into the property. So
But
that's the property line, this property line
like I said,
here.
here's this part, but if you're sitting at the
Is what
bank,
we're talking about.
you make eye contact, because the tree is just not thick enough, even right now in full growth. The trees are just not enough that, because they're so tall now, that you can literally make eye contact with the guy at the ATM. The ladies at the bank and I wave at each other in the morning sipping our coffees, you know, because like we could just see each other so well, you know? I do keep most of those curtains closed, but I want my kids to be able to go outside. I want a fence for the dogs, and like I've got a big dog that does a lot of jumping, and I don't think a 4-foot fence is gonna be sufficient to keep him in, you know?
All right, well, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other interested parties? Here to speak, ma'am, I see you.
Well,
That's my mom.
I'm her mom.
Okay.
I'm biased, really biased.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to keep the
Can't blame you.
people from looking in from 251 and my grandkids playing. You know, they're lined up when traffic is heavy. I just don't think it's safe. I feel better if they were in a privacy area where they can't be seen.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing then, and, or Sue, did you,
No, I have, thank you.
board discussion?
Well, I was a little bit confused, so I drove over there
Okay.
and, cause I saw the front yard setback and I'm thinking. You wanna put a 6-foot fence in the front yard, and I looked at, cause I drove around to Frankie's Lane, that's,
Right.
your house faces Frankie's
It
Lane.
does.
But now that I see that you're talking just on the sides there, and then,
Where the trees are already anyway.
and what we're approval is for the fence height from 4 to 6, and then. On the River Street side. For that fence to come into.
That's the only thing you have to approve is to allow it to go from 4 to 6 feet on the River Street side.
But
It
then,
complies with ordinance. Other than that,
but then also that we're okaying that can come into the
no,
setback.
it could come into that
That doesn't
setback.
matter.
Yeah, it's just, so the fence could be in that setback already, but it can only be 4 feet tall. So the variance request is to allow it to be 6 feet tall within that setback area.
But I totally understand driving over there with 251 and the volume of.
Right. We bought this house sight unseen. My husband got relocated up here for work. He lived in a hotel for 3 months. You know, it's the second house we bid on. We bid off of it without even walking through it. I didn't realize, you know, that 251 was gonna be such a thing. And when we finally did go to it right before closing, it was in July. So we were in full growth. It was quiet. You know, it was like 6 o'clock at night, no traffic on the road. It was very quiet. It was very private because it was so grown in. You know, it was really only when winter hit that I was like, oh no, you know, it was, that's the first time I waved at the lady at the bank and she waved back and I was like, they can see me, you know, so.
But it's pretty much 6-foot fence around your backyard.
Yeah, I really would like to, because as it stands now, if I put a 6-foot where it's allowed to sit right this minute, I would really only be fencing in about 20 usable feet. And, I mean, my kids couldn't even play baseball in that, you know, so, I wouldn't even be able to fence in their existing swing set. Into the 6-foot as it stands right now, so that's why I just would like to really go, to the 6-foot height, along that River Street, because that's the expanse that's going to grant me the greatest privacy, I think.
Okay, Brad, any thoughts?
Nope.
Nothing? I think it's a.
I guess the thing we always look for is it a unique property we're dealing with, and in this case, yes.
Yeah, it really is. Scott was saying that there's only like 2 or 3 others in the entirety of Roscoe that are even close to this complex that face the similar issues as far as, frontages, you know?
Yeah, it seems like a reasonable request with hardships demonstrated. Yeah, so, can we get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
I'd second.
And roll call, please.
Steve,
Yes.
Wegman,
Yes,
Hoagland,
Yes.
Luge,
Yes,
Stock.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And does, she need to work with you more?
No, so Amanda, same thing that you just heard me say to Matthew, this will go to committee, it's a variance request, always goes to the board for final approval. This will go to the committee of the whole next Tuesday. There will be no presentation, you're welcome to attend if there's any questions, but there won't be a presentation like there was tonight.
Oh, okay, so I don't have to come to that.
You don't have to.
Somebody will just let me know, like you probably, if I get that granted. Awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you, good luck.
Thank you.
And that brings us to old business. Anybody have anything old, anything new business? No, okay, I've got 5 or 6 things.
Okay, by the way.
We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second. And roll call, please.
Durstack,
Yes.
Hoagland.
Yeah.
Pete,
Yes.
Wagman,
Yes.
Luge.
Yes.
No, the big one on the agenda.
You get my email from earlier, letting you know I was gonna be
I did,
late.
thank you, yes, I sure did. And then I was just wondering, I was gonna maybe. Excuse me, altogether.
I got
Um,
it.